Welcome to Wednesday Comics, Back Matter Episode 2, where we're talking the sequel. We'll talk about supernatural and paranormal. My name is Marvin, and to my right, we have the ghost himself, Alex.
Hello, everyone.
And across from me, Bigfoot himself, Garrett. How you doing?
I do have big feet, if you know what I mean.
And I already introduced myself. That's the first time I ever done it.
Yeah,
first.
so you did first.
Well, I brought it up first because I'm scared and I'm off my rocker. I'm a little off.
We're old.
I'm a little off here tonight because we've been talking about the supernatural and paranormal to prepare for this show. And we're going to come and talk to you. We're around the campfire right now in the middle of the woods. So at any second, we could be killed. Whoa.
Sorry, mosquito.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you just gotta fly.
I thought maybe somebody took you away. And there he goes. So we're out here. It's a little hot by this campfire. The mics might melt, but that's the sacrifice we bring to you. And the stars are out tonight, Alex, right? You can see Jupiter?
I can see it. That's not a star. That's a planet, but I can see it.
Mercurus?
Water planets.
Yeah.
We're out here in the woods to tell you about the supernatural and our experience with it, and also the world's experience with it. So we thought first, what's the first thing you think about when you think about supernatural and paranormal is some ghosts. And we're out here in these woods, so hopefully there's no ghost in these woods. But
For the record, if you heard that, that was me literally actually like shaking off the fear. Ghosts are fucking scary.
Ghosts normally, I mean, if you're going to think about classic ghosts, they're haunting a house. But they are known to...
Whoa. It's not the house that is haunted.
Well, I was going to say, normally,
Wow.
I mean, also, they can haunt other things, graveyards, cars. So they're all over the place. And I thought first I would, I'll talk about, so growing up, we lived in my grandma's house. It is in town. So when we go back to town, I'll show you guys. And it actually is in an older part of town, so now nobody lives there anymore. It's abandoned. So we can't. You want to break into the house? Do some paranormal stuff?
No.
Bring these mics and we'll ask if anybody...
We'll get a Ouija board.
We'll bring 3 mics and then an extra one for that ghost and see if he's talking to it.
Ooh,
but here's a couple of experiences I've had there. But also, I'll let you know that, you can either believe in it or you don't believe in it. There are things that could explain it, and I know because I've been in that house, and I would believe it if that explains it. Or if if I find out one day that goes for real, I'll be like, okay, so I'm on the fence here. I'm not 100% either way. It could have been that house was really old. There's carbon monoxide. It made me hallucinate. I don't know. That could be possible. But here are the things. But also, like my brothers, we would have a shared experience. So it's like, are we all hallucinating the same thing? Or
yeah, this is going to be chills already. This is good.
So in this house, right, and one thing that would happen is that my dad would work till 2 a.m. So if it's a weekend, like a Friday night, me and my brothers would just stay up until he came home. Every single time. We knew how he came home because you could hear... We lived upstairs at my grandma's house, and there were these steps that were kind of steep. Steep for steps. They're not safe at all. They're small and steep. And if you went up them, you normally ran up them because they're so steep. You can't really walk. I mean, you can walk up them, but normally everybody does a little jog up them. And so that's how we knew he was home, because he would open the door and start going up the stairs, and we would go, oh, he's here. And then pretend like you're sleeping. And so one night, we're sitting there doing, playing around and talking. I think we actually were all in bed just talking. And all of a sudden we heard the door open and somebody ran up the stairs, right? Oh, and we're like, oh, he's here. So we pretend to go to sleep. And then nothing. Nothing at all. And I was like, oh, maybe he's not here. And I think one of my brothers went and checked. And he was like, oh, no, nobody's here. Oh. And I believe it happened, if I remember correctly, one more time. It did it again. And he wasn't there again. So I think we were all just like, yeah, let's go to bed. That's it for tonight, I think. How I went to sleep that night, I don't know. But I did. I think it's just because I shared a room with my 4 brothers, and I could fall asleep being like, oh, one of them is probably awake right now. If I fall asleep
Were you the
first.
closest to the door?
We're all about equal distance.
Okay.
It was bunk beds, and they're kind of next to each other. So we were about
on the
equal
top,
distance.
though. A little safer than on the bottom.
It is. I was in the bottom. So
of course.
But also for me as a kid, I was like, if I fall asleep first, they'll still be awake, so they can look out for stuff. That was kind of my safety guard. Another time, I was sleeping in my bed, and I woke up, and we had some toys on the ground. I remember there was a Buzz Lightyear that my brother had, and there was another little doll. And I remember seeing them get up and start walking, moving around, somebody was playing with them. and like watching it being like, what the heck? So like, I don't know if that one right there, I don't know if I'm sleeping, but I'm pretty sure I was awake. And I remember being like, go back to sleep and like try and go back to sleep and open my eyes and they're still like moving around. And once again, I was just like, eventually you just got to be like, I got to go to sleep. Like otherwise, there were some nights where something like that would happen where I would try to stay up until the sun came up. I could see the sun a little bit. Then I would go to sleep because something like that would happen. For instance, one time, by the way, also, speaking of sleeping, I've never had, so in that house, I had so many nightmares. So many, but not like nightmares where like something happens and you're like, wake up and you're like, oh, okay. I mean like, can't wake up, terrifying. I would wake up and like be sweating. For one instance, the one I can remember the most vividly, I remember being upstairs with my brother, stuff like that, and just like talking to them. And eventually at some point I like was talking to them and they were like, who do you think you're talking to? And I was like, what? They go, well, we're not your brothers. I just remember their eyes like turning black. And
holy shit, chills right now.
I ran downstairs to be like, hey, because in the dream, my mom and dad and my grandparents were around the table. It was the dining room table was right up when you got out of the stairs. It was right there. Going down there and going, hey, they're up. I was trying to tell them what was happening upstairs. And I remember them just turning around. Their eyes were black. And I go into the kitchen and they all surround me. And like I wake up being like, and like those kind of dreams I would constantly have in that house. Ooh. Once I moved out of the house, we moved out of the house around 2001, 2002. So it wasn't like I wasn't a kid anymore. I was still a kid. So you can be like, oh, you had nightmares because you were a kid. When we moved out of that house, I never had any nightmares like that anymore. It was only in that house. So once again, could be the carbon monoxide. Wow. Giving me these trippy dreams. My grandparents, but also like, so I said that shared experience that I had with my brothers. My grandparents all the time would be like, oh yeah. My grandma said one time she was in the basement of that house doing laundry because that's where the washer and dryer were. It wasn't like a connected. You have to go outside to go downstairs. And she was doing laundry and she was like putting stuff in the dryer or something like that. And she said she felt somebody like tap her on the shoulder and she like turned around and there was like nobody there. So she kind of got, oh, okay, whatever. And she said that she turned around and kept doing laundry. And then she said, no, there's no way like that I've, felt a phantom. Like everyone said, you think you feel something, but not really. But she goes, no, I felt something. Be like, hey. And she said, turn around, nobody. So she was like, that's enough laundry for today. So she went upstairs. Like stuff like that used to happen all the time. It is abandoned now, that house. So if you guys ever want to break in and do some recording, it is available. But like that kind of stuff. Once I left that house, I've never had another experience besides that house.
I'm gonna take a note and say no. We're not gonna do that.
I'm gonna up the ante. Fuck no. Maybe that's the Black Barn.
It might be the Black Barn. So.
I'm one of those people that I am fairly. I don't want to say paranoid. That's not the right term. But I can only watch so many episodes of a scary thing. I actually don't enjoy scary movies, and being so
wound up.
Kind of wound up, and everything has to make sense. I mean, I love supernatural things; they excite me, but I actually think everything is real. Like I've never seen a werewolf, I've never seen a vampire, but I can't quantify ghosts or angry spirits or poltergeists. That like even right now, we're sitting outside, and I'm a little nervous. And it's not like I've got chills. But it's God. What if someone does do that to me?
As long as the fire doesn't go
I
out.
tell you what. I'm the way we're sitting right now. It's kind of like, okay, I'm watching Marvin's back. Something sneaks up on him. I'm stabbing it. Garrett, I'm pushing you to it.
Wow. Yeah. What about that thing right behind you?
I was gonna say, Alex, I'm running the other way. I can't see that way. I'm not even looking that way to even. I just remember another one too. When my grandfather passed away while we still lived in that house, and so there used to be a thing for like. He was an older guy, so he would stay in the bed every once in a while. Like a day, he's like, today I can't just get out of bed. And he would stay in bed. So like if the phone rang and he couldn't go get it, he would yell for my grandma and be like, hey, can you answer the phone in Spanish? My grandparents didn't speak any English. Can you get the phone? And she said that after he passed away one time, she was on the couch and the phone started ringing. She was like, oh, I'll get that in a second. And then she heard my grandpa go, hey, can you get the phone? And this was like shortly after he passed. So she was like, oh, okay, I go get the phone. And she said she didn't, until she got to the phone, she didn't even think about being like, oh, wait, that shouldn't have happened. He's not here anymore. And so, like, it's things like that, like, that makes me not sure.
It's creepy.
You know what I mean? So, like, I mean, it could be, like I said, that carbon monoxide. But then also, like the kind of hallucinations that you have, like to have that specific one is kind of weird. You know what I mean? It's not like you can pick your hallucination. It's just something that happens.
I'm going to throw something out there. It's me attempting to quantify it.
Yeah, you're the logical guy.
Her being told, "Hey, will you get the phone, please?" is almost a classical conditioning on her part. However many times he may have asked her, going, "Hey, can you get the phone?" And if she goes, "Oh, I need to get the phone," he's not going to get it. He's in bed. I'm going to get up and get it. In my brain, it's like, okay, that would make sense. I'd be like, "Oh, Alex, get the phone." Wait, that's not right.
You're saying,
but it's like in my
conditioning,
head,
she heard the voice, but
correct,
not,
correct, without actually hearing the voice. And I'm not saying
it's possible. I mean,
I'm not negating it.
I'm not saying that piece of information or evidence is not the the closest case. Now we got it solved. I'm saying that's just a thing we can add on to it.
Well, I'm just telling you that's how I watch ghost movies. Other than when I watch Supernatural, the TV show from the CW, where I know get that rock salt, whatever. I have to it has to make sense, or I may pee my pants.
Would you guys ever take your selves on, because people do tours of like haunted places? Would you ever do that?
No,
I have done that.
You have done it?
Yeah, we did it in, where were we on vacation? Oh, I was in Hollywood. They have a Dearly Departed tour, and I guess it wasn't taking you to haunted, like inside the locations, just right outside.
Just right outside?
Yeah. But still, that's enough to be like, oof.
I think my fear with doing that and actually entering the home is the potential of, one, attracting that entity to myself, or coming into contact with something that is holding that entity home, or holding him to that house. Because that's the one thing, is it's not just the house necessarily that is haunted, it's something else in the house. So, like right now, telling you guys this, have goosebumps.
I have a story about this. So I have a friend.
I have another story too.
At work. She told me one time, we were talking about this, and she mentioned that she lived in this house for a while, that she would constantly wake up and like she would always see like this black figure in front of her, or she would see it every once in a while, like, out of the corner of her eye, and she would turn around and she would see it like pass into another room. So for a while she was like, wasn't really doing anything besides that. And so, but she, it's not a good thing to wake up to, right?
Yeah.
So she went to her parents' house to stay there for a little bit, and they lived somewhere, and she stayed there for a week, and she said she saw them there and was like, "What's this? Did they have one too?" And then she left, and then she said she never saw it again. And then her mom called her one time and was like, "Hey, you know that thing you're talking about all the time? I think I saw it. Like, it's at the house, and I think maybe you brought it here. Now it's here." And so they moved out of that house eventually, just because they were moving, not because of that figure. But like they said, they haven't seen it at their new house still. But like that's the thing, like you're talking about, like it attaches yourself, and then it moves on to the next person. What you said, Gary? You have a story?
Yeah, I got one. My sister was in New Orleans. Yeah, I like the ones where you can see kind of some photo proof. So I got two stories. One was in New Orleans, and my sister was there on a tour because my sister is a freak and she loves like those haunted tours, whatever. So it's at night in New Orleans, and they're going by an old cemetery, right? And there's these old like Gothic street lamps outside the cemetery, right? And so Casey my sister takes pictures down this alley of this place. She takes two pictures, right? One picture, you don't see anything. Second picture, you literally see a silhouette of a body formed by light under this like Gothic light post, and it is terrifying. Like it has like, it looks like it's wearing a hat, and then you can see like a head and shoulders, and you can see kind of the separation of a body. So that one, like, I'll show you guys later, but that one I'm like convinced is like real. And then I have a buddy, he went, I can't remember what town he was in, but he took a picture of this like haunted hotel that's been decommissioned or whatever. And he took a horizontal shot of it, and then he was just like looking at it, just like zooming in on the windows to see if he could see anything. Oh shit, this gives me goosebumps. He like on the far right side, he zooms in, and there's literally like a lady like staring like in the window, staring out at the camera. Holy shit. Like, I mean, like he zooms in, it's an abandoned hotel.
Yeah.
And in the like third floor, staring out the window right at the camera is a lady's
creepy
Yeah.
silhouette.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can
Or
see
like
her
a
face and
person.
everything. You could see like a pale lady in a dress just staring at you.
And you saw that picture?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. I
Oh,
wonder
where
if
was that
that's it's one of my buddies. I have to check his Facebook, but he posted it one time, and I was like, "That's."
But I
terrible.
mean, where was that hotel at?
I can't remember. I can't
Oh,
remember
okay.
the town.
Well, I mean, see, that's things like that, like where you know somebody and you know, like, this person's not going to lie. Like, they
Right.
know, I mean, like your sister. She's not
Yeah.
doctoring that photo.
Right.
Like, she's taking a photo and be like, what is this? And it's things like that make me believe. But also things like when people talk about, like, oh, this is explained by, like, there's maybe it's carbon monoxide poisoning, but, like, that there, those pictures, how can you, there's no way that, like, that's carbon monoxide poisoning.
Right. Like that's
Or-
outside. I mean,
Well, my wife does not believe in that. We're a Catholic family, and so a part of me actually goes my fear of ghosts or whatever name you want to call them, evil spirits maybe.
Poltergeist.
Poltergeist. So we've got crosses in our house. We've got oh crap, what's it called? Oh shit! I'm sorry. I'm a Catholic guy, but I'm not very good at. I can't remember what the necklace is called.
I don't know. Rosemary?
Yeah, it's so when you do your Our Fathers and you're doing your Hail Marys and your Rosary.
Rosary.
So we've got plenty of those, and it's like, okay, and I've even got gargoyles, which are to ward off evil spirits. My hope is that there's enough joy and happiness in my house to defeat.
Oh, so you're saying that Catholics, I don't know anything about this. You're saying Catholics do believe in spirits, but if you can put stuff in your house, so let's say,
No,
hey,
no. I'm saying that she doesn't, but I'm going with my faith. Going,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
I believe in God, and I believe that He would keep us safe.
yeah.
And so for me, it's one of those things. Like, okay, I'm like when I go into my basement, lights go on. If I hear a bump in the night, I grab a knife
You know,
to stab a
Yeah.
apparition.
but I mean, things like that. So, like, even though the paranormal, this is the thing. If somebody broke into my house, I feel like I would be less scared than if I saw like a ghost
Yeah.
in my house, because the ghost, I don't know what to do. Like, what do? I just leave the house. I guess you burn that house and adios. But if a guy breaks into my house, I at least know here's the solutions. I fight him. I try to hide and like lock a door and call 911, or hopefully he sees me and runs away. You know, I got choices. The ghost is in my house. What am I going to do? Call the Ghostbusters? Yeah.
Well, the thing, like so in an episode of Supernatural, you want to test someone to be possessed, whether by demon and or I believe even spirit. You can say Christu, which is Christ in Latin, and it should at least shake the creature in that body. Man, you know what?
Well, because there's
what if you show me that picture and it looks like a legit woman? I will. I've got goosebumps all the time. They're just kind of like
I'm looking at my
in
sister's
flares.
one, but that one scared me more than this. But I know that I was listening to an episode of Tell 'em Steve Dave where they had a priest on and talking about exorcisms and things like that, and like there is an organization of priests that do handle exorcisms, and you have to be ordained, obviously, by the Pope to be able to do so. And I imagine, that's kind of sketchy too, because I know there is a saying that they will say to exorcise demons or said ghosts, and it's like, yeah, I bet like that word is like something that like, yeah, would fuck.
Well, say
like,
it
at
would-
least poke them and be like, hey, better pay attention.
Yep.
Like, but I don't know. Also, what if that's a black hole? You say that one word, it's like,
pisses
where's
them
the
off.
rest of this? Oh, you're not saying the rest? Boom, on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Do you think your sister would be okay with sharing that picture?
Like on,
I could put it on the episode.
maybe I'll ask her, but
Okay.
I'm pretty sure she'd be cool with it.
All right. So you'll see this guy in the sombrero in the middle of, where is it? New Orleans?
New Orleans.
New Orleans, down there in the bayou. But like that's the thing. I mean, it's poltergeists have been in the in culture and in kind of like history for a long time. It's not like something that recently started happening.
No.
So you think back in the day when there was no reason for carbon monoxide poison to happen, they still saw apparitions. Now also you can argue that maybe they didn't understand what they were looking at, and for there's certain scientific things that they can say, hey, now like these maybe they thought ghosts before were like fireflies. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's a spirit. So I mean, but there are things like this, like the Garrett's photo evidence, your story and my stories. It's just like, I don't know. I'm not for sure.
It's one of those things that it's exciting to think that there's other things out there, but I also find it terrifying to go, what if they're not all a Casper?
They're not friendly ghosts?
Because they're not all Caspers. And I've heard from
what if they're like poltergeists?
from people at my job that one told me that, oh yeah, I've got a spirit of a little boy in my house. And I was like, okay, one little kid ghosts are scary.
You better believe I see a full adult ghost, I'm scared, but I see that little kid ghost, I'm terrified.
Like you said, I'll burn my house down.
I was going to say, I'm like, all right, that's it. Nothing to do here. Let's get out of here.
My other thing that I had been told is that, and I think it was like, if you saw a animal spirit or an animal ghost, that they have the ability to kill you on contact. Like you look at them and they can kill you.
Wait, any kind of animal.
Now that was when I was
pigeon.
in middle school. Now you just got that pigeon ghost and you just ring it.
Squirrel. If I meet eyes with the squirrel, I'm dead. You're saying
that'd be a horrible way to go.
Garrett, do you have any more stories?
Nope. That's the only two that I can think of. Besides like urban myths, like what there's like, I know there's, I think in Texas, I was watching a documentary on ghosts, and there's these things they call the ghost lights, and between the hours of, I think it's 11 p.m. and midnight, every night, there's these lights that you can see, these red lights that you can see on this railroad track. And people say it's like the haunted spirit of like old train robbers, because I guess a gang of old train robbers got buried under the railroad tracks because they were obviously trying to rob a train.
Yeah.
But it's like a red light, and it looks like it's like kind of coming right at you. And they said it like it'll come, and they do. Again, goosebumps. Like I've seen this footage that they doctor to make it more scary, but it's like these little balls of light are literally chasing you and coming right at you, like accelerating 100 miles an hour. I don't know. I just kind of like, the stories like that. Like it's kind of cool if you could like debunk a mystery like that. That's like could be a ghost. Or
I think the thing is that I'd have to be dedicated to it, and I couldn't do it alone. I mean, it would literally be like Marvin, Garrett, and Alex, or
Well, I mean, you've been ghost hunting before.
we've been ghost hunting for a couple years.
We tried to start a profession. We did it for one night and we were done.
Yep.
Too scary.
what was this at?
Don't worry about that. That's classified. There's video evidence of it, so if you want to see it, if anybody wants to see it, let me know and I'll post it again. But
I fucking found it, guys.
oh, here we go. We got
That picture?
we're going to look at this picture live. You guys are going to get our reactions live, and then hopefully.
Which one is this? The one from your sister?
This is the hotel one.
Oh, balls!
Oh, geez, this is one I
That's
want
gonna
to
be-
see. I want to see the other one. Right.
This one's the one I'm actually afraid to look at.
It might have been a bad idea to do this in the middle of the woods.
Oh shit! Here it is.
Around a
God damn it.
campfire.
Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna let you guys see this. Okay, this is the shot he took. Okay.
Okay.
All right, it's
So you
pretty.
can tour.
apparent-
You
it's
can
a-
tour the outside of this abandoned hotel. You can't go in.
See, when you told us this story, I thought it would be at night, but it's in the middle of the day. Right?
Middle of the day. Even okay. So I'm gonna
Seems
zoom into
scary.
the right over here. Okay. Ah shit. Let me do
That
that.
was scary.
God damn it! There we go. Can we zoom in really tall?
I'm actually kind of glad you're showing this to us both at the same time.
Yeah.
All right. Look in that window right there. You gotta look close.
Yeah.
Is that not fucking freaky as shit? That's a live photo. that
Oh,
you
I
took.
see.
Let me see.
That's okay. To be fair, less scary than I was expecting,
I
but
know.
it's still scary.
I
mean-
see the person. I know what you're
I
talking
see the
about.
I see the silhouette of it.
I expected it to be closer, but I still
thought there was
Oh,
like
I think he
the-
got a zoomed in
like the
shot
face
all
of the person. I thought, holy shit! Like talking about that makes me scared.
Yeah. Creepy as crap.
Whoa! I didn't realize we were spiking there. We're gonna get a little excited.
We're fucking scared.
Yeah, here it is zoomed in HD. So you can even zoom in further if you use your thumbs to.
Oh, you're right. That is okay. That is worse.
Oh, okay. Oh, Jesus.
That is that is worse.
Oh, Jesus.
Isn't that
Yeah.
creepy as fuck?
From farther away, I was like, who could be anything?
It could be a mannequin.
No, that is, buddy.
Horrible. Yeah. I know. I
Crease
saw
too.
that. Yeah.
You should ask your friend if he can post that. Because I don't think it's fair we talk about it in the show and they
I
can't
know.
see it.
That's
So,
truth.
Let him know, Austin.
I'll ask him.
Okay. So let's move on to the next subject. We're out here in the middle of the woods. Like I said, this is dangerous. We shouldn't have done this.
I'm glad we got this fire going.
I at first thought the biggest thing about we would regret from this is the mosquito bites, but I think we might regret dying out here.
Pissing something
If
off we
it's-
shouldn't have.
Or one of us becoming possessed. Who knows?
So we're gonna move on from ghosts eventually and get on to like the
right, so we
fluffy,
Well, we're in the
scary
woods.
creatures.
Let's talk about it. We're in the woods, right? A big thing about the woods is Bigfoot. And Bigfoot and all these mythical creatures, the Yeti, right? Sasquatch. What else we got?
Well, Sasquatch, I believe, is another term for Bigfoot. Yeti implies I believe Himalayan mountains, or maybe just mountain ranges in general.
And there's another one, right? Swamp in the swamps.
Yeah. But what would you call Solomon Grundy?
Swamp ape, I think.
That might be it. I think you're right.
So these creatures they say are like the. Some people say they're the evolutionary missing link between ape and man. Some say they're just another creature, right? They're supposedly like 6-7 feet, not 7, no 7, about 7 feet.
I would say 7 to 8, I believe.
And huge, and they walk upright. They're not like animals. They basically are humans, but not humans.
Well, like you said, they're almost that in between because they do stand up upright, but their bodies are fully hair. You know, they've got hairy bodies with, I believe, their hands are shown. So I believe they've got human hands. I believe the feet are implied to be extended. I mean, you know, size 30 feet.
I got another image about Bigfoot. Because, you know, there's one documented image of something that appears to be Bigfoot. I'm going to see if I can find it.
Is it that one with it's walking and looks
and it
behind?
looks backward? Yeah. I mean, that is the one photo that they've said has gotten closest to...
being a legitimate...
Right.
That would be one of those things that... How would you... It makes me curious to know, one, I don't even know where my thought process is at. Because how would it... There's only one, supposedly. From what I know, it's literally just Bigfoot. So, it makes me wonder, is it a demigod creature? Or is it literally an animal?
You think about it, man, like, I don't know why I call you man. You think about it, like, there's so much about this earth that we don't know, right? Yeah. Especially, we'll talk about later here, the ocean. Like, there's so much of it unexplored.
Yes, that's the one I've seen.
Yes. That it's like... And there's a tribe in the Amazon that was discovered a couple years ago, maybe 5 years ago, that was living untouched for centuries, and they found it being like, oh, like look at this tribe, like they don't even know about technology, like they're in these woods, they've been living in these woods, nobody's contacted them from the outside world, like nobody's ever met these guys. Yeah. When you think about it like the Amazon or like the what's the big forest between the West Coast and the Great Plains, right? Up and down Appalachians? No, Appalachians on that side.
It's mountain.
The Rocky Mountain, like that whole kind of range there, like you don't know what's up there. And the Himalayas, like, you don't know. There's places people can't go. And maybe when we go there for the first time, they find something being like, what is this?
I think the thing that always kind of amazes me is that that video that you've seen, I believe it's from the 70s or 60s, where it's in a broad daylight and Bigfoot's walking. How you've only seen it that one time. How there's never like scat. There's never footprints other than the hoax footprints.
I believe that picture you showed us, Gary, that has been debunked.
I know. But I think that's the most classic. I think when people think of Bigfoot, that's the one that comes to mind.
Let me play this for you here. 911 in 1990. A guy lives...
damn it. Real life evidence?
A guy lives in the middle of the woods. And he calls 911 because Bigfoot comes a knocking.
We should do a science experiment if getting goosebumps helps burn calories, because I'm burning.
What are you reporting?
We got someone or something crawling around out here.
Did you see what it was? Was it a person or an animal or?
I can't tell. All I know is that my central light came on and I just happened to glimpse and see this thing running across the yard. A good-sized man or something. It looks like a man. I don't know what it was. Just that it ran across the yard.
Okay. You've had problems in the neighborhood before?
Yeah, my dog was killed here just recently. I don't know what it was. Whatever it is, it's running. I couldn't catch it if I was going to chase it. But whatever it was standing up. I'm out here looking through the window now and I don't see anything. I don't want to go outside. Jesus Christ, you better...
Sure.
See ya!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh. Okay, hang on.
He's right...
Is he in your yard, sir?
Yeah, God, he's big.
Okay, what's he doing in your yard?
He's looking at me.
Okay, and the guy is on foot.
I don't know what... It's a big... real big person. That's all I can say.
Okay, but it is a person.
Yeah, I'd say it was a person, somebody really big. But he's all in black.
Is he a black male or a white male? Did you actually see whether, or was he just wearing black?
He's all black and he's big. He is big.
Oh, fucking
Oh, sorry, that's the next step. So he called 911. Obviously, like he said, that week before his dog got killed, and he's like, well, and usually that's how it starts, right? You live in the middle of nowhere, your animals start disappearing.
Dude, I would be going to Alkali Lake, asking to get that Wolverine healing factor, put those claws in. Papa P would be going.
Can you imagine
hunting.
you live in the middle of the woods by yourself, and that happens?
And he's just like staring at you,
looking at you through the
taunting you.
window. Like, nothing you can do. Like, you call 911. They're not getting there within 5 minutes.
Especially if you're out in the country.
Yeah.
That's
why-
You think a little pistol is going to take on Bigfoot?
Papa doesn't bring out little pistol. He brings out the rocket launcher.
Well, still.
I think the one thing that would be scary is that one, to me, it's a mythical creature. What if it doesn't kill him? Like, what if I, like, literally, you just said Alex. What if all I did was piss it off?
Well, I mean,
And then he runs into my house.
I don't think Bigfoot's going to get mad because you're calling the cops
Garrett,
on him.
let's
No, I'm saying I
uh,
shot him.
Oh.
Alex, let's think about this. Like a silverback gorilla. How much do you need to take that guy down?
It'd have to be a headshot.
And it's going to be like probably 2 or 3 times that because this guy's bigger than that.
Yeah.
We don't know how much he weighed. This guy thought he was about 6'9", right?
Yeah, so he's almost 7 foot tall.
Let me talk about this image that's flashed across my head.
But when he says he's all in black, which I guess it's dark out.
Right.
He might be all
furry.
black fur, yeah.
You're right. Maybe.
And he said, he goes, hey, he just ran across my yard. I couldn't catch him if I wanted to. So he's quick.
He's a fast guy.
So you open that door to
what if
shoot
he
him.
What if he goes on all fours? Could
When
you
he's
imagine
running.
seeing a creature out there on all fours and all of a sudden it just stands up on 2 legs? How much would you freaking just die?
Immediately, I would go. Sounds like a bear, which also scary.
But then it starts walking you normally like a human.
See, that's the thing. It's like, when he goes, it ran by and it's too fast. Okay, bears run about 35 miles an hour. If it's a black bear, they stand about 6 feet tall.
That's when you get the fucking sawed-off shotgun and you go to town.
Well, I was going to say, I just 357 him.
yeah, you got to get a headshot, but when 100 BBs are coming at your head, one of them's going to hit. So
Nothing else blinds you.
yeah.
That would be so fucking scary. And especially if he actually is literally seeing this thing. Because now he knows it's not a bear. He's seen a bear, I'm sure. He goes, it looks like a man. But I don't think it's a man.
Well, I mean, what do you think about a bear's profile, though? They're, like, very thick.
Yeah.
And this one, obviously, was lanky kind of big. Like ogre-ish.
Wendigo.
Yeah. What are the creatures, just a little sidebar, the mythological creatures that feed off fear? Is that the Jinn? I mean, I'm thinking of supernatural mythology only, but...
So a djinn would be...
Well, no, they give you your most heart's
He
desire.
gives you your
and
wish,
kills, yeah,
but he kills you.
in the process.
But the thing is that fear is one of those things that, depending on the creature, a lot of things come off your fear.
Well, I know, but they like eat the fear. I can't remember what eats fear.
I'm not sure, but
Sinestro core.
let me talk about. I'm going to read from Wikipedia. Bigfoot.
Holy crap! It was space ape.
In North
Dude, I got
American
chills right now. This is-
in North American folklore, Bigfoot or Sasquatch, you're right, Garrett. I mean, Alex, they're both the same thing. Is a hairy, upright, walking ape-like being who reportedly dwells in the wilderness and leaves behind large footprints, strongly associated with the Pacific Northwest, particularly Washington State and British Columbia.
Yeah, 'cause there's so many fucking trees there.
Individuals claim to see the creature across North America. Over the years, the creature has inspired numerous commercial ventures and hoaxes. Folklorists trace the figure of Bigfoot to a combination of factors and sources, including folklords and European wildman figure, and Native American loggers, and a culture increase in environmental concerns. Let's see here. I was going to see if they had what they're called everywhere else, but there are still, like, throughout time, there have been pictures of Bigfoot, like in drawings and sculptures or stuff like that. It's not like, once again, not a new thing. He's been out there for a while.
But that's the thing is, I think most countries, I'm sure, or at least most regions, have, some kind of folklore. When you get down into, I believe it's South America or at least Mexico area, the chupacabra.
Right.
Yeah.
What if scientifically? So you think about how human came to be, right? We're an offshoot of ape, right? So what if this Sasquatch, Bigfoot, just didn't get that evolutionary traits that we as humans have today? What if they were like at that second stage where you're still part gorilla or part ape, and then you're starting to form human traits? I mean, who's to say that just because you live in the universe that you have to automatically be human when you're fully evolutionizing?
True.
That's what I mean. It could be like humans were one branch, but it doesn't mean that all that happened.
Right.
I mean, when you think about it, animals evolve to be the best that they can be. So if there is like a gorilla or ape type creature, what's the best thing for it to do? Is be big like that if it lives in those woods.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. What if there's an actual community of these fucking things? Like, they're trying to keep their civilization a secret, hence why they're in Washington State, like the most forested area of the entire United States. Because it's hard to see stuff, and even in any pictures you see online, you can barely see a face or a silhouette of Bigfoot. You know, what if they're just in their own little gene pool and they haven't had enough exposure to the outside world?
And my question is, though, the paranormal is the thing that there is evidence of it, but like, if that is real, there's no way to really quantify that unless like they started showing up all the time and everybody could be like, yeah, here it is. Bigfoot is the thing that once they find a carcass or once they find like somebody takes actual footage and like sees it, it could be something that you can be like, hey, here's your new discovery. Do you see that happening ever in your lifetime?
I think it'll always be debunked. There's too many ways for prosthetics, movie magic, basically.
So you need a carcass.
I think
I'm not a carcass either, because you could just like freaking cut some horns off a deer and.
But I think if you were to test the blood, if you were to test the blood, find the hair, look at the fingers and the toes and the digits, and even the teeth. There's ways to quantify that this is legitimately a real animal.
DNA, they can say this is not any DNA we've seen before.
I think if I see a live video of this Bigfoot...
I don't mean you. I mean like the scientific world. Like, what's enough for them to be like, this is real? And then you'll know it's real when they say it's real.
Yeah, I guess. But I don't think we'll see it in our lifetime.
Do you believe... So here's the thing I've heard for a while, and you know what? Doing a lot of research for this, like to find that clip and find other clips. People have said that like with the invention of the smartphone, everybody has a camera and a video camera on them at all times. So shouldn't we actually see more of this? Because people always talk about it all the time, like, that guy, hey, I see something here. But I'm doing research for this, and I did find a lot of videos of people being like, hey, this is Bigfoot, this is the sound of Bigfoot, all this stuff like that, that was made recently. But a lot of it is, and we watched one of them before we started here, a lot of it is like, really, is that real? Like, I'm not sure if that's real or not.
Right.
So the hoax has increased as much as the real sightings increased.
Yeah.
So I don't think that when people say, hey, shouldn't we have real evidence by now? I just think we have more muddiness by now. Like, because more people are like, hey, let me fake this and get famous, virally.
Right.
And you also have people that, you might be a video on there that has 50 views and like, this is more real than that one I watched that had 1 million views. And just because the evidence is still there. I mean, it's still coming out as much as it did before. It's just that now you have to figure out like, which one do I want to believe? Do I want to believe this one? That something actually really big happens in it, go, oh, that must be real, something happens. Or it's like, oh, that's probably fake because something happened. Or this video where it's like some guy in the woods and like there's one sound. And he's like, did you hear that? And it's like, I could hear that, we could hear that, right? And you'd be like, is that real though? Like, I'm not sure. Like Alex was saying he thought it was a guy. But imagine that was Bigfoot. And you're like, oh, it sounds like a guy though.
So, and my next thing I want to bring up is it's not to cause an issue. But so before Christopher Columbus came over, there were other people who had lived here. So what if they decided to hunt the Bigfoots? What if Bigfoot really was a big ape that lived on that side of the country?
So you say instead of the turkey, they were eating that Bigfoot?
Well, I'm saying, so like the bison in the Midwest, they were hunted almost to extinction until
conservationists.
Thank you, that word, came and saved them and go, hey, we can't be killing all these. We need to keep them. We need to have more than just these 10 left. What if no one stepped in and goes, hey, these big feet, they serve a purpose. Maybe they break trees. Maybe that's why there's so many trees in that spot. Or, there's no big food. Yeah, you can hunt moose, but why hunt a moose when you can get this docile big ape to hunt? So, I mean, I'm not stating it to say it's true. Probably not. It's probably all a hoax. But if they were real, what if they were hunted to extinction other than the one or two that are still around?
Which would go into kind of partly my theory where it's like, what if they're their own community trying to stay safe, then they're trying to stay hidden, live their lives. And yeah, there could be, maybe there's only 4 of them, maybe only 5 of them, whatever.
Or what if they had their own Wakanda?
Right. Well, basically, hey,
and so I
swear to God, have you ever seen Washington State? Like, have you ever driven through there or anything? Forest everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you could get lost so easily.
Well, and who's to say that they didn't evolve even more? Maybe they don't live down here anymore. Maybe they moved up farther, up more into Canada. I mean, I know they're in British Columbia, but what if they were even like, this is still too dangerous. These puny humans are still attacking us all the time. We need to go farther. We need to.
Well, it could be like a winter, summer thing, like more towards the summer, they're going to come down south.
Yep.
And then
Speaking about that, this map here has where they're most likely seen, and the darker ones are where they've been, right? So we have the west coast there, like you guys were talking about. But there's also some down
Texas.
south there, and then some kind of by the Great Lakes. But, like that's where it's forested, right? Or down south, you got the swamps, like I was talking about
I say
before.
we got swamp apes.
Nothing in South Dakota. It's pretty bare there.
Are
So
Bigfoot clear?
we're clear today, yeah. So don't worry about that.
Alex and Garrett live there.
But I am taking a trip to Wisconsin in a couple of weeks. Actually, that's the reason why this episode's coming out this week. And that's pretty dark. So, and we're staying in the middle of a national forest. So.
Marvin,
You better
you're
have that
objective.
phone at 100, buddy.
But I mean, here's the thing. I asked you about the ghost thing. Would you ever go to a haunted house? There are Bigfoot groups that like go out and try to find evidence. Would you go over with one of them and try to find Bigfoot?
See, I think that's kind of the similar thing, though. You're like inviting yourself to either be a meal or you're like, some things should just be a mystery, okay? Everything doesn't need to be explained. And like, do you feel like, myself personally, I'm like, do I feel like I'm going to be one of the guys ever in my life to spot actual Bigfoot? Hell fucking no.
See, my thought would be, and I'm kind of on the same boat with Garrett, it would be really cool to be a part of that team who sees a legitimate Bigfoot, not some goofer dressed in, not a gopher, a goofer dressed in a Bigfoot outfit. But what if it's not Bigfoot that I run into? What if I find a Wendigo? What if I find something else, some other creature that's not a bear, that's not a pack of wolves, that decides, you know what I want? I want that kid. I want to eat that guy.
Right. You plan on going to hunt something while you're being hunted.
Alex, talk about that for a second. What kind of creature is that?
So if I remember right and I get a little bit of my lore knowledge from Supernatural, the TV show on the CW, a Wendigo was a person who turned to be a cannibal. And in turning into a cannibal, they were cursed to never die and always feast on human flesh.
And
Now-
so they look more like vagabonds, or they're not necessarily like Bigfoot, but they're ragged, they're big, and they're like carnal.
Well, and that's the thing is that there's mixed pictures of it because there used to be a Wendigo was like in the Marvel comics. He's a big white Sasquatch like creature. Where then you've got like you said, they're kind of scraggly.
Almost look like Vikings.
I was thinking they're almost like not a zombie per se, but they're quick and they're fast and they're aggressive.
Right. Like
And-
the mole people or something.
Yeah. So they live in this forest. The forest is their place. And I don't know if they've got necessarily a power. I know they're vulnerable to like a fire attack.
Oh, you know what it makes me think of instantly is the Wrong Turn movies. Like those frickin'
Well, even Descent
Whatever.
almost.
yeah.
Because
Like,
Descent,
yeah.
I think Descent had
Yeah.
Wendigo-ish like creatures.
Yeah, that's how they kind of look like. By the way, out here in the middle of the woods, because it's getting darker and darker now, and this light source of fire in front of me, I can't even see you guys anymore. So if I'm not looking at you, that's why. So I'm just
start seeing blood.
I'm just
gushing out
staring
your
off
throat.
into the woods. So Alex, remember before you told me to watch your back, can't see it anymore. So
Don't worry. If you can't see me, they can't see.
yeah. So I mean, I would go. You guys said you want to
You go check out Bigfoot?
I would go.
You have a son. You have a child. And you're going to go endanger your
mean,
life for a potential sighting
here,
of a
listen.
walking ape.
I'm not going out there, Marvin, solo. I'm not going out there even with a group with no weapons.
You're going out there pushing innocent people in front of you so you don't die.
We're going out there, shotguns in hand,
Oh.
with recording equipment, video equipment, and believe me when I say, I am going to be in the middle of everybody. So like the shield.
Yeah.
Human shield. Hey, you can always be prepared, but remember aliens? Yeah, they were prepared too, and everyone basically died. So
I think my thing is
Game
that
over.
what I mentioned to you earlier.
Exactly.
How do I know how much durability one of these creatures has? I mean, they're obviously never been founded.
I mean, I can guarantee I could take down Bigfoot with my bare hands.
You know
You hear that Bigfoot challenge?
You heard it
The
here
gauntlet
first.
has been thrown, Bigfoot. So Marvin wants to see if we can have a little tussle, a little wrestling
So
match.
when you're in Wisconsin, Bigfoot, find Marvin.
And we're just letting you know, South Dakota hasn't seen you in a while, so Marvin's looking for some home action.
What if I? You guys are always thinking negative though.
So you said you could take me?
Holy shit!
You guys are always thinking negative though. Like, what if I go out there and it's like Harry and the Hendersons, like that kind of Bigfoot? Like he's happy.
Why would you shoot him? All he wants to eat is
Yeah, I was
McDonald's.
like, now you got the shotgun. If nothing else, you've invited him to beat the shit out of you because you
Exactly.
brought the shotgun. One, you bring a handgun, a
drew
big
first
handgun,
blood.
and you're like, "Are you Harry or are you Bigfoot?" He's
I'll
like,
bring a Magnum.
and he's like, "Holy shit!" He's like, "Yeah." That's even when he goes, "Holy shit."
He'll be in front of me and he'll look me dead in the eyes and I say,
Dylan,
"Do you
son of a
I'll say,
bitch.
"Do you feel lucky?" And he goes, "Huh?" And I say, "Well, do you?"
You should just bring little McDonald's cheeseburgers, and if he takes one out of your hand, then he's friendly.
That's Bigfoot, and we talked quickly about. We really didn't dive into, but like before, like the skunk ape. That's kind of skunk ape. Actually, I think that's what
I
they call
think
it.
maybe that is skunk ape.
They in like Texas and Florida, and like that kind of the bayou down here, where Garrett was talking about before, the bayou. That kind of creature lives down there, and then in the Himalayas, we got the Yeti. Can you imagine? You're climbing Everest, up at Everest. You're all by yourself. Well, you probably have a crew, 1-2 people. You're up there, and all of a sudden you see the big Yeti. Now you're fucked there. Like, there's no way coming back from that. You can't run away from that.
No.
You toss off that mountain, he's gonna toss you off. No, he'll bring you to his cave, and then adios.
I lightsaber his arm off.
Hey, it's not a wampa.
So moving on, talking about creatures in the unexplored, we're talking about something that I have a big fear of. I believe Alex does too. Is the ocean in the middle of the ocean, deep water, way down.
See, that doesn't scare me. I don't know why the deep ocean would scare me.
But you're a decent
Unless it's
swimmer.
an anaconda.
Can you imagine like the movie Open Water? You're stuck in the middle of the ocean, like there's nothing around you, and you look down. Like that gives me chills just thinking about that.
And you see nothing?
Well,
All you can see is
can't
blue.
see nothing. But what is down there?
Probably piranhas.
Probably piranhas.
No.
Yeah, in the Middle Pacific. Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
Piranhas live in the
fuck?
Amazon.
Yeah. There
Hey,
were.
human bodies float. Step one of survival.
It's Alex. What was that section called again of the ocean?
What?
Bath.
Oh,
I had to look it up.
was it? Well, that's in the lower realm. Was it bathypelagic?
I believe so.
It's close to that. Sorry if I ruined that.
It's like where no sunlight hits at the bottom of the ocean.
Goblin shark.
That's what we're talking about. Like where we got some creatures possibly. I mean, even like real. Like we don't know for sure.
How come there hasn't been any evidence of that area? Why
You
would
can't go down there.
I know you
there's
can't.
so
Why
much-
couldn't you send like a probe or something?
But there's so much pressure
yeah.
down there that it crushes it.
Yeah, there's so much
like
pressure.
when a sperm whale goes down, holds its breath for an hour, their body can withstand that much pressure, but a human body could not. Even nowadays, we're getting into subs that can withstand that much pressure. But I mean, that's millions and trillions of gallons of water pushing down on your ship.
That's assuming you'll be able to come back up.
Yeah.
I mean, we know about pressure from Department H, the comic book, right?
Yeah.
They had to come up and they got pressure sickness. But if we think about it, even at a simpler level, like when you're a kid in the bathtub and you take like a bottle and you turn it upside down and you push it down, that pressure you feel even in the bathtub, can you imagine an ocean now? Yeah. You're trying to get down there. That's why, for instance, we were talking about James Cameron before the show, and he went down to the, what's the trench called? Mariana Trench, and he went to the deepest anybody's ever gone, and with a new ship, and he went down there, and he could only be down there for like half a minute, less than probably, and then he had to come back up because there's so much pressure, it's like you can't withstand it. And so if you go even below that to this area we're talking about, like to be able to be down, and it could be nothing, there could be nothing down there, but we do know things live down there. The sperm whale, like you talked about before, the giant squid. So like things live down there, and we see the sperm whale with its battle scars. So like it's fighting something down there.
Yep.
Yeah, it could be the giant squid, but these things live down there. So if they live down there, what else lives down there? And so we were talking about it before the show, and I got some evidence here. This is first. This is going to be. Let me get this.
Just make sure it's not Dory being like, "Hi, how are you?"
Let me pull
I
up.
didn't know you spoke whale, Garrett. Way to go.
In 1997, the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration had detected an extremely powerful underwater sound several times. And according to the NOAA description, it rises rapidly in frequency over 1 minute and with sufficient amplitude to be heard on multiple sensors at a range of 5,000 kilometers. The source of the sound remains unknown.
It's Godzilla.
Scientists determined that the wave pattern indicates it was made by an animal and not a giant electromagnetic sucking a plane out of the sky as... Oh, that's a joke. Somebody made a joke. But they did...
Someone made a joke.
No, I mean the last part. They were saying it's not like Lost, like the smoke monster.
Right.
With the audio profile of a bloop does resemble that of a living creature, the system identifies it as unknown because it was far too loud to have been the case. So there isn't anything they know biologically can make that sound, but they know that the change in frequency is a way that that has to be natural.
It has to be a creature. It has to be naturally occurring.
So here we go. And you probably have heard this a million times before. Like if you actually hear, like it's the sound that people know, it's called a bloop. So if you actually hear it and the way that it's been, what's the word I'm looking for? It's been out there for a while, and when people hear it, it just sounds like bloop, like this, right? And people don't know though when they hear that sound is sped up because it's like, oh, let's speed this up. So like I have the sound at its normal speed to actually hear it. But let me pull that up here because I want you to hear the difference here. Because people for a while were like,
that's not scary.
yeah, what are we talking about? Like that's just
a beep.
That sounds like somebody went bloop. But it's like, oh yeah, but that's because it's sped up because that's the way you recorded it. But that's not actually how it sounds. Hopefully it's the right one. Here, I'll play it here. Okay, I got some text on the screen. Basically what I told you, in 1997, the NOAA hyperphones recorded this. 5,000 kilometers from louder than any known creature.
Is this the unedited or edited?
I think this is the 16 times speed. This is the way that's always been out in the public. That right there. Right? So you're like, oh.
It just sounds like something swam by.
Right? You're like, hey, it's not that creepy, right? It's just a bloop. But then I was researching it today, and they're like, oh, no, that's 16 times the speed. I always thought that's what it was.
Oh.
Right? And I was like, oh, okay, well, does it sound like an animal?
A shark just farted or something.
Bloop. But here it is, normal speed. So there it is, normal speed.
Yeah, it sounds like something charging up. Holy shit.
So that is what, like one day, I mean, they probably can't, the safe thing to know is if there's anything that big down there, because like they said this has to be biological, but we don't have anything on record that's that big to make that sound. So like imagine this is some sort of
Sounds
creature.
like a Leviathan.
Yeah, what's that?
So Leviathan is I believe meant to be a giant, and it generally ends up looking like a whale. But that's the only thing that comes to mind that would have that. And I don't even know if it's a legitimate creature. Have the vocal cords that are that big, and much like whales speak now, it's in song or echolocation. That sounds like an echolocation sound.
Yeah. But I mean, you hear how it just spikes and crescendos at the very end there. Like, that's probably where you hear the bloop part of the bloop. I mean, that's freaky. That was good.
When we listened to the first little part, I thought it almost sounds like music. Right. And then you get to the other part, almost like a, not necessarily a warning, but just a acknowledgement almost.
Do you think that's one creature, or do you think that's several creatures harmonizing?
I mean...
Because maybe that would help with that whole sound output thing is like, I mean, yes, it'd be cooler to think of a giant monster, but what if you have some medium-sized monsters that are harmonizing at the same pitch?
That's what I'm saying about this. Like, the scary part of this is not that, like, I think it's some sort of monster. I mean, we don't know for sure, like, what it is. But I believe it is just like a creature, but a creature that size. I think the size thing is what scares me the most.
Yeah.
Like if you mentioned in the ocean and that thing is like bigger than anything you've ever seen, it's the size of an island, and it's coming for you, or it's coming up. Like the thing that's comforting though is that they live down there. Like that's the only way they can survive. So they're never gonna like come up.
Right.
Like that's where they live. They need no sunlight. They can't be in front of the sun.
Well, what if that's just like a microcycle of their lives? Like, what if they come out once every 100 years, and they feed, and they go back down there to digest
That's
for
what I'm
100
saying.
years?
It could be some sort of kaiju living down there, and here we go. Or it could be what Alex said. There actually is some sort of. But when you think about like old mythical tales about sailors on the sea, when they talk about they've seen these creatures, they've seen, or even like if you think about Lovecraft and Cthulhu, right? Mm-hmm. He lives in the Pacific, and he lives down there. And then one day, like Garrett said, that's the story about him. He comes up, and that's the end of days. Is when he finally comes up from the ocean. So like.
Damn.
There's all this stuff, like, that's what scares me about it, because it's so unknown. Like, we know more about space than we know about the bottom of our own ocean.
Well, it could be, okay, so you got Cthulhu, or you got Leviathan, or you've got the Kraken. There's the creature of a siren is I don't remember if they are a female creature.
Well, they're supposed to be like mermaids.
They're supposed to look like, because it depends on what thing. Like if you watch Sinbad, the animated movie from DreamWorks, they are almost water based. Like they seem to be more of a liquid kind of spiritual creature that drives you into the water, so that you'd run into rocks and then they'd kill you. Or you've got there's another creature.
I'm just saying like the Romans,
or like mermaids, like you said.
Yeah.
You get mermaids who also, if you're not thinking of Little Mermaid, where she looks pretty human. Generally, they almost look fishish. They're a longer
Well,
fish.
it's kind of like vampires, though. Vampires are supposed to be pleasant to the eye because that's part of their hunting nature. They want they're enticed to bring you in.
Their glare, I believe, is to make them look something that you'd want to be invited by.
Something you're attracted to.
It says here also that to mention the deep tone of this is at 20 hertz, which next to a diver would be deafening. So if you heard this, basically you would go deaf if you actually were next to the thing. So like that's how loud this is.
That reminds me, it's like Barrier, where they can't understand the language, and
it's at a tone that they lose their hearing. Yeah, I mean that's what it'd be like if it was that loud and that deafening that you would bleed from the ears, or burst your eardrums, and then.
I'm just saying, I know there's nothing could handle that pressure, but maybe they shouldn't ever send anything down there, like a missile to go check it out, because that's like maybe just poking the bear.
It might be. Yeah. I mean, think about it.
You start feeling a shake over here in the Midwest because someone poked the fucking giant monster in the ocean.
Even to think like a giant squid. Like a giant squid scares me.
What's that horror movie where they're on the ship and like a giant squid attacks them?
The Poseidon Adventure?
No.
20 Leagues Under the Sea?
No.
I think it's 20 Leagues.
20 Leagues?
Not 20 Leagues. 20,000 Leagues.
Well, there's like a more modern version that came out in like the 80s or 90s. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they've done it multiple times. Poseidon, they just tip over from the water.
Right.
Wave. I mean, but that's the thing is, though, like, can you imagine being down there in a sub, like Alex said, and then all of a sudden you see that giant eye of the squid? And it's like, that even, it's like freaky, but this thing is bigger than that.
Giant eye of the squid, more like the mouth. Are you kidding?
I mean,
thing opens up all.
But that's the ominous feeling of the giant eye that looks inside your submarine. Like, holy crap!
Yeah.
Basically, going down there is saying you can't see anything. It's so dark. There's no light. You have to bring your own light. It's like being in the middle of the woods where it's pitch black, and you don't know what creatures are out there. Like, and plus, like, there's no map to it. You don't know what's going on. So I think maybe, I mean, I would like them to explore more of that ocean. And maybe, the thing is, like, if we had carcasses of a sperm whale, like, we could, or if, like, they were able to somehow, like, look into them more and figure out, like, how did they survive under there? Can we, like, mimic that as, like, a ship?
Like a mecha male?
Yeah.
Mecha whale? I mean.
And maybe they've tried putting cameras on sperm whales before, but it, like, can't handle it.
Cracks under.
Yeah, so, like, maybe one day it doesn't even have to be, like, sending, like, a robot down there, but just a camera.
Well, when they shot the Planet Earth, they do the deep sea. So, I mean, we're getting into that place where we can start making cameras. I think my thing would be, I'd be afraid to find out what it is.
Well, I know, but it's kind of like the map being created. You got to find out the edges of the world.
James Cameron's trying to do it. That's what he likes doing. He's going down there and exploring. Yeah. He's been a big supporter of being like, let's explore this. Let's figure out what's going on.
Yeah, it's like, why go to space when we got so many mysteries right here on Earth?
Yeah, so I mean, That's what scares me about it. I had another sound here also. I don't know if it's as frightening as the other one, but here we go. Why did I check my things up? All right.
And that last one, it sounds like Godzilla charging up or something.
Here it is. Let's turn it right now.
You know, it's very similar.
Now, to Alex's point before, it does sound like harmonizing, like a whale, right? The only thing is with these, like the way that the frequency is and like the how deep it is like that's what they don't know. Like, oh, this sounds like big. They can range that and be like, this sounds like a bigger animal than it actually is.
No.
So that's what makes this creepy. So they don't know.
That does sound like the husher tones of that first one we listened to, though.
So this
before it
sounds
gets
like a
higher in
response
pitch.
to the other. Because that's the thing is you go from the 100-foot long blue whale, largest animal known on Earth ever, and then to think that it's bigger than that.
Yeah. That's why I feel like, I mean, scientific brain, based on what we know, I think it's more than one creature, but it could be just one giant-ass motherfucker ready to take
Yeah,
on
it
the
could be.
world.
But the one thing is that they mentioned that it has the same center point, which imply that either these animals are in the same spot, but you couldn't be physically. You can't be in the same spot as
That's
something
right. They did
else.
mention that. Like the sound comes from one point of origin.
Because the second animal, if it was directly behind it, there'd be a blocked where the other animal's in front of it. You couldn't have that. So
Maybe there is this one giant creature, but there's like a hierarchy, and that blue whale, they get food, hide it in their mouth, and they bring it to King Swamp Daddy.
he's telling a joke.
No, I swear to God. I mean, obviously this guy can't come up and get food. I don't think the blue whales are going to go jump into this guy's mouth like, kill me.
Yeah, but blue whales eat krill. I don't think they can regurgitate it. Not to crap on your style.
Don't they hold things in their
One
mouth
more-
like Pinocchio?
One more thing we were going to
that
talk
was a sperm
about.
whale.
It kind of stems off of this, and this is probably just a natural thing, but I think the scares are scary. These guys didn't think so, but I want to play them just for our listeners so they can hear it. But here we go. All I imagine when this is going, by the way, is basically like, what if kaiju like actually were real, and they're like this is the first sounds you heard, like they're on their way, and you have to be like, you hear something being like, what is this? This is in Spain, 2017. So I think the biggest thing that we can get from any of this, right, is we don't know a lot.
See, I guess for me, what it sounds like something big is moving something metal on a floor that's also metal.
That's what I'm saying. It could be a
sounds
very
like
natural
scraping.
sound. I'm just saying that the thought of it when you wake up to that sound is probably scary. You don't know what's going on. But all the stuff I'm talking about, poltergeist, the Bigfoot, the underwater thing, it's like the thing that makes all these things scary. And when you think about it, really in the grand scheme of things, the thing that makes anything scary is what you don't know and what is unexplainable to you at the time.
You know what G.I. Joe says? Knowing is half the battle.
And knowing is half the battle, and the more you know. That's what NBC taught me. So when you think about it, speaking of like G.I. Joe, popular culture with these kind of things, right? I talked about Harry and the Hendersons before, but and Alex and Garrett, you talk about Supernatural all the time, right? They touch on these things like it's a thing people want to know about. And does that show do a good job about like actually taking these not real life, but you know, like folklore stuff?
But,
And, like,
yeah, I would say
Giving them
they've
like
got lore to
proper
them.
mythology and
Yeah.
whatnot. Oh yeah, yeah. That's one show I think that if you're like into monsters or any kind of supernatural things, like that's definitely something to check out because it might not be 100% correct, obviously, because you know it's TV magic and all that, but it's you know a lot of those things that they do. I mean, they're not just like creating their own lore for the sake of it. They're kind of going off like real legends and things like that.
Well, that's a big thing is that they're I think they're trying to stay close to what a family lore would be. So the Wendigo, that lore of it was a man or a human who ate other human flesh, who was a cannibal, turned into this creature who was cursed to be a monster. Like we talked earlier about a ghost, generally attached to a house, attached to an object that was specific to this person.
Right.
And it is one of those things that you were taught to burn the ashes with salt and fire, is to cleanse the evil and to destroy anything that was holding this thing here on Earth.
Right.
A werewolf is from, it's believed to be a wolf bites you, and I believe that is the actual like origin is a wolf bit
Right.
somebody.
Well, and then also that. Well, I guess vampire theory, which I'd like to see the change over time. It used to be a vampire bites you, you become a vampire. Not true. It's more so that a vampire feeds you its blood, and then you have to continue hungering for blood to turn into a vampire. So I've noticed that on many shows now. It's not just like I bite you and you're a vampire. It's like you feed off my vampire blood. If you keep eating blood, you'll turn into a vampire. If you choose not to, well, you pretty much die.
You starve to death.
Yeah, right, exactly. So,
what's your guys' favorite movie that deals with these type of
like supernatural
subjects?
creatures? That's tough.
Like ghosts, Bigfoot? Is there really Bigfoot movies?
Well,
I don't
the
know,
one
I
that
think
comes
that
to
Trolls
mind,
movie-
that Troll Hunter one we want. Not Troll Hunter, but Trolls. Was it called
No,
Trolls?
it was Troll Hunter.
It was called Troll Hunter?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's about trolls.
I know, but
Yeah, but that thing had
Bigfoot,
big
I mean,
feet.
Come on.
They should make a Bigfoot movie like that, though.
Yeah. That'd be good.
If there's not one, I guess I don't even know. If you guys know, WednesdayComics605@gmail.com or on Twitter at Wednesday Comics, let us know and see if there's one, because I like to watch that. Poltergeist is a good movie.
Yeah. Conjuring movies.
Conjuring,
Those ones
Mama,
are-
The Orphan.
Yeah.
Oof, yeah.
Oh, The Orphan.
Orphanage.
Orphanage.
Orphanage. I was like, The Orphan's a scary movie. That's kind of real.
Oh, The Orphanage, I meant. Yeah. The
Orphanage is
all right.
scary.
I would think it is a scary movie.
It is. That's like, he's supposed to be a demon, right? He's a demon.
Is he a demon?
Yeah.
I believe
Okay.
so. We don't really get into that. We're going to talk about some other time. But, yeah, those movies, Bigfoot, not really anything. Underwater, we have The Abyss is a scary movie. It actually turns out to be aliens live down there. Spoilers. I don't know why I spoiled The Abyss.
What the fuck?
I don't know why I spoiled The Abyss.
Don't even watch that movie.
So I guess, yeah, scratch that off your list. The Abyss. What else takes place underwater? Of course, Deep Blue Sea. by
20,000
Yellow.
Leagues Under the Sea, I guess.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Is Deep Blue Sea, is that the big shark one?
Yeah, it's the smart shark.
Okay.
A movie coming up in like August, The Meg, starring Jason
Megalodon.
Statham. About the Megalodon, yeah.
About the what?
Megalodon. It's a huge great white shark.
Oh, yeah.
It was
I
a
have no
prehistoric
idea.
great white shark. And he seems to live, according to the trailer, in the darkness. And so this little girl, it opens up with this little girl who's playing with this ball, and she looks out, and there's something outside outside this big window, and opens its mouth, and it bites the window to get the little girl, and she
That
screams and runs
shot
away.
is terrifying to me because they have an underwater station, and she's like sitting there, and I'm not even kidding. It gives me chills. She's like playing in front of that window. All of a
This
sudden-
Meg movie trailer?
Yeah, all of a sudden you see
We'll
it
have to
come
show
up. Oh god, I mean that's the thing though. Like thalassophobia, but it's called that we have, Alex. That's what it's called, and like anything like that shows underwater like that, it gives me creeps.
Well, it's just
It's so dark and like
Yeah.
it's the emptiness of it, right?
Yeah.
If I went up to stay with space and they saw a creature coming, it'd be the same thing. The only thing is out there, like we were talking about, there's telescopes. I can see it all. It's not a matter of. I mean, there is pressure, but we figured it out because it's emptiness and there's so much amount of pressure, and we figure out how to do it. There's so much of the ocean floor that I don't know about, like that. So when they have this creature that's supposedly been dead, but now it's actually still alive, it's just been hiding, and it comes back, like that could be possible. I don't know.
Well, it's one of those things that a lot of people, maybe I think amongst this table, and this is for you, Sarge, I would love to be Aquaman. I would love to use that power to go down there and to adventure, and then knowing that for the most part, nothing's going to kill me. I'm the king of Atlantis.
Doesn't mean they won't try.
But and I mean, there's things like the creatures that live in the trench who, hey, I want your kingdom. But for the most part, it's like, hey, how cool would that be to adventure in this world and have the opposite of what Ariel, the Little Mermaid, has, where she wants to live on Earth or on land. What if I want to see what's in the sea?
Well, that kind of makes me think of Jurassic Park or
Under the Sea, I said.
Or Cloverfield, in that trailer for Jurassic World that just came out, where that creature's like swimming behind the people.
Yeah.
Dude, Cloverfield freaks me out because it takes place, the point of view is down below. So when they have those scenes of the monster so huge, the hugeness of it scares me too. We were just talking about before the show in Troll Hunter. At the last scene, spoilers for Troll Hunter, there's a last scene where the troll is huge, and that scene is scary at the size of this thing. So I think anything like that is so... I mean, if I saw Bigfoot, I'd be afraid. But also if I see one of these, kaiju in Cloverfield, if I was... Or Godzilla, if I saw that, you're terrified because you're there's nothing I can do. The Bigfoot, maybe I can protect out a shotgun, maybe I can get a headshot on this guy. With that, there's nothing you can do.
Now, if you're not with basic, weapons that there's no way, you could ever prepare for something like that. Unless you lived on an old military base that happened to be stocked up. I just mean
with weapons.
With weapons and stuff. There's no way that you would have even Alex, this crazy guy who has 1 million weapons. I don't think you would even have enough caliber to take on these giant monsters.
Well, no, giant monsters, no. I'm thinking the highest you could probably get would be probably Bigfoot, maybe Yeti, because I believe Yeti is actually a little bit bigger than Sasquatch would be. But again, it's depending on what their durability would be, and I'm not trying to make it a video game thing. But it's even if you shot a flare gun at Yeti, who's to say that his fur would be flammable? He lives out in the forest, so it could be covered in dew. Or if you're in the Amazon, you can get kind of like what sloths do. They end up getting algae. They get their own little colonies of algae. That wouldn't be flammable. So all you'd end up doing is picking a fight with something that is 10,000 times stronger than you are, who's just looking for a snack.
Are there any good comic books that deal with supernatural things? I know Lock and Key, that's kind of supernatural, but it's not really
Hellboy.
It's scary, but Hellboy does a lot with the paranormal.
Hellboy's a good one.
He fought Bigfoot recently, right? Sasquatch?
He fought Krampus.
Oh, Krampus is what
and he's fought...
Go back to our Christmas episode of Backmire. We talk about Krampus.
So he got back into the 1954, I believe. And the whole Hellboy lore is he is from hell, essentially, or another dimension of hell. And he was brought in to help the United States fight the Nazis. And he gets to fight all these other supernatural creatures.
What can I think of? There must be comics about ghosts and stuff like that. What can I think of anything right now?
The Hunt came out.
Oh, yes.
That was a couple years ago, or about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. It's a 5-issue run of a family being hunted by, I believe it was an Irish spirit, an Irish creature. There was actually a supernatural run in Marvel called Supernatural. It's a 6-issue run. No, it was DC. What was it? Was it DC and Marvel? I know you haven't read it, but I know you got it, Garrett.
Oh.
I think it's DC. I'm pretty
DC
sure.
owns the rights to it, yeah.
So DC put a 6-issue run. Dean and Sam go to, I believe it was England, and there's some stuff going on with them. BPRD is a good supernatural run. There's a, there's a decent amount of supernatural things. Heck, even Batman sometimes can be supernatural.
Yeah.
Well, here we're going to get into Justice League Dark is going to be coming out, so that's going to be supernatural based.
What was that supernatural Gotham?
Gotham by Midnight?
Gotham by Midnight.
Oh, Gotham by Midnight, yeah.
Yeah, by Midnight. That was a good book. That was supernatural. So there's some comic books. I'm looking right now, and it's kind of hard to search for a ghost comic because there's so many characters called Ghost. So that's all I'm getting right now. And I can't type in supernatural comics, so then I'll get this one you were just talking about. So, yeah, there's a lot of things and a lot of medium. It is an important genre. It had a resurgence recently with Blair Witch and then the Paranormal Activity movies. But I feel like in this, but also this Annabelle, Conjuring movies, it's had a resurgence with that also. But I feel like nowadays people are more apt to see a scary movie with stuff that they can prove is scary. I'm with them. Strangers breaking into your house, The Purge, what?
Hush.
We saw, recently, an intruder. things like that. I think that's more where the horror genre is going, right, Garrett? You think, or is it more supernatural?
I don't know. I think like Conjuring blowing up and like things like that. I think it's going to go more supernatural route.
But I think
I don't know.
But I think it's for every other person, because I'm one of those people that the home intruder thing. Yes, it is scary, but like Marvin said, there's ways around that. Where then there's the thing for me, supernatural things are scary, where I can't fight the ghost, or I can't fist fight.
You can prepare
Yeti.
for someone to break into your house and
Yes.
prevent it. You can't prevent the other one. Also talking about like also Hereditary recently is a mix of both things. I'm not sure you've seen it yet, Garrett.
No, I haven't seen
Okay.
I've seen the commercial for it today. Actually, it looked pretty good.
It's kind of a mix of both. But yeah, it's been in Amityville Horror, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Oh, that's real. I'm trying to think of things that are ghosts. What else ghost movies that you guys know of? Anything else?
There's 13 Ghosts,
13
Casper,
Ghosts is scary.
Ghostbusters.
Casper. You fuck.
Casper.
As Alex said at the beginning, he tries not to scare himself, so he probably hasn't seen a lot of these horror.
That's the
actual
thing is
horror
that
movies.
my thing is like I will watch monster movies. I don't care to watch ghost movies, because those are the things that actually do scare me.
Well, this has been back matter. We're talking about supernatural things, but we did say before the show started, there's so much to touch on in this subject. We didn't even talk about like aliens. We didn't even talk
We
about
got demons, rougarous. We can talk more mermaids.
Hey, there's always back matter, the 3.
So if you want to hear more, let us know. WednesdayComics605 at gmail.com. Send us your ideas of who we should talk about next. And maybe if you got some personal stories, let us know. 605-215-1849. I would love for you guys to leave a voicemail with your stories, and then we can tack it on to the next time we do this if we do. I mean, I think we are.
I think we'd have to do another round of supernatural.
Halloween's
yeah.
coming up, baby. We need something to do.
Right.
We need something to do.
Find us on Twitter at Wednesday Comics or at Marvin_Saguero, at Alex Mastrello, and at Karat2188. Bug Garrett and see if he'll let you see that photo, and we'll put it out there. You find the other one from your sister?
No, I'll have to text her
Okay.
later and get it before we air this.
Find us on YouTube, search Wednesday Comics. Make sure you subscribe. We're trying to get up on subscribers so that way we can get a direct URL. The way I can tell you to go to youtube.com/Wednesday Comics. Don't go there now. It's not ours. So, what else? I can't see the thing. Oh, facebook.com/Wednesday Comics Podcast. I brought it out the little chart to our woods here, and I tacked it on a tree, but I can't see it now. It's too dark out here. You think we would have brought like a flashlight or something? Nobody thought they brought a flashlight out here?
That's what the fire's
I thought
for.
we had the fire going. Well, that
Once
went
the
out.
fire goes out, we're in the dark.
That's why you keep that fire fucking lit.
Hey, but let me talk about one more thing before we end the show. I know I'm kind of ending here. Are you afraid of the dark? There's a lot of things that get kids into supernatural stuff. Are you afraid of the dark? Goosebumps, scary stories to tell in the dark. What's with this obsession with scaring kids?
Because they're so innocent.
You think so?
Yeah.
And when
They
you're a
think they're
kid, you
safe.
want to know this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like it's so interesting to you.
That's easy for a monster to get them because they're inquiring. They're like meeting you halfway, basically.
But that's the one thing is that in season 2 of Supernatural, some creatures can't get into your house unless invited.
Truth.
And so, and a kid is going to invite you. These monsters dress up as clowns or something that you, like we talked about with vampires. They use a glare. They use is it a glare?
I mean, just like
But they use this ability
like a pheromone almost to
Yeah.
get you into like.
and they
invest
transform
in
into
that.
this thing for you. So you like, oh, I want that thing, that fun thing to come in my house. Am I afraid of the dark? No, but much like Chuck Norris, the dark is afraid of me.
Were you a kid? Would you read that, Alex? That stuff?
What?
Goosebumps.
I have actually a lot of Goosebumps books. My only thing is that I actually am afraid of like slappy ventriloquist dolls and dolls in general. Not like Barbies, but
Ones that have weird faces. And
yeah,
stare at
ones that
you.
have weird faces or even just.
Do you want to watch Dead Silence sometime?
Oh god, that used to be my most.
Which one's that?
horrifying
Isn't
movie.
that the one with the at the end?
All the ventriloquist dolls?
The doll.
Spoilers, but yeah.
Well, I've seen it with you, Marvin. You and I watched it.
No, we didn't.
Oh, then
I haven't seen it.
In front of the show, Gabe and I watched it.
Oh, okay. What about Annabelle? You want to watch that?
Nope.
What about Annabelle? What's
There's
the
one
second
called, I think, Robert or
The
something now. I
Creation.
don't want to watch that either. Or The Puppet Master. I don't want to watch that.
I think it's called Annabelle the Creation.
Well, stay tuned for our Annabelle commentary coming up in October. I'm just kidding. We won't do that. If we do, not in the woods and somewhere where it's brightly lit. Because what we figured out from being out here, things are scarier in the dark. The unknown, what you can't see, will terrify you. And that's where fear comes from. Fear is about not knowing, it's about ignorance. It's about seeing and looking for something and not seeing. If you're pitch black in the middle of the woods, like certain places of the jungle where the trees drown out the light, it will be as scary as being at the bottom of the ocean. And make sure you tell people that and say, hey, if you want to come up to the light, it's known as Wednesday Comics, and subscribe to it on iTunes. So excuse me, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Google Podcast, and Spotify. And I'll tell you about the rest later. This is not a show to talk about the rest. Actually, I can't anymore, because by the time you listen to this, we have talked about Swamp Thing, and I don't need to mention it anymore. But out here in the middle of these woods, I am the man of the woods, and we might be dead, so this might be our last episode. So good night and good luck. My name is Marvin.
I'm Geralt. I'm Alex.
I'm Garrett.
Hey, everyone. Keep hunting those monsters.